Balakrishnan, and for this edition of Voice Vote, we are sitting at the campus of the Faculty of Management Studies in New Delhi, and with me are aspiring corporate leaders of tomorrow. I'll begin this discussion by asking you, what are the qualities you will be looking for in 2014 when you cast your vote for the future leader of India?
For the past 3-4 years, what India has been suffering from has been policy paralysis. So we are looking for a leader who's decisive, who's sure of himself or herself, and who's ready to take a decision, be it right or wrong, at least go some way forward with it. Stopping everything and doing nothing, that won't help our country now.
So probably I would want somebody to stand there and say this is what is right for the economy for the long term, and not look at my personal benefits for short term. And this is something which I would look forward to when I'm actually casting my vote.
He is mentioning long-term benefits. If you talk about bringing India on the map when it comes to economic growth or as a destination for investment, which party would you think will actually help in implementing that?
I think that right now, if you look at the sentiment which is going around outside India, which will benefit India in terms of economic growth, a lot of speculations are there that if India comes to the power, okay, rupee will appreciate.
Modi has always been looked up to as a pro-capitalist leader. So, if Modi comes to power, probably that will help benefit the inflows of FDI and FIIs, which in turn will definitely help improve the sentiments and the growth rate.
When international investment look towards India, they're looking for stability. Okay, they're not looking for a particular leader. If we end up giving a hung assembly again, they will again be wary that policies will not be set, nothing. And Modi's been looked forward because he talks about single window clearances, and he talks about one point of contact who would clear everything for the industry and help them. Ease of business is very important for them.
Well, I'd like to throw that question to you. Can you forget 2002 when you go ahead and cast the vote for Modi?
See, we can keep talking about 2002, we can keep talking about all the communal riots that have taken place in India since independence or even before that. What is the way to go forward?
Adding to that, there hasn't been any proof as such against Modi. It has not been proved in court that Modi was involved in the riots. So
because he was in the ruling, so he was blamed. There was no exact proof.
Yeah, so we cannot take that precedence of 2002 riots and blame him for that.
What about corruption? Today, corruption is taking center stage. It's becoming a hot electoral topic. We're seeing people like Arvind Kejriwal, the launch of the Aam Aadmi Party, actually try to threaten to change, the way politics is looked at here in India. How many of you believe that corruption is a key issue at this point, and that will feature on your mind when you go ahead and cast that vote this time?
So corruption is always on the mind. Arvind Kejriwal gets the credit. I don't know about the stability. Can that person, that the party he's talking about can provide stability to the system, but the person itself, he gets credit for bringing that topic on the top of mind recall for every Indian, which was the necessity of the time.
Yes, it will be playing on our minds, but what we will end up, what will psychologically happen to all of us, we will look at this one candidate or this one party rather than the person we put in the assembly. So we'll look at the symbol rather than the person. And that is what exactly is said to be wrong with the entire system, that we need to elect right people into this place, not the symbols.
Well, do you think with a lot of first-time voters going to cast their vote in 2014, ideology will play on the mind? Will it be secularism versus fundamentalism, or are these just ideologies that are no longer relevant when you look at today's voter?
I think that the first-time voters do not think of these factors like communalism and secularism, because they know the parties actually sprout these matters for their own vote bank politics. What they are looking is that inclusive development and all, and that's what I again think that corruption again comes here, because going back to the last question, if you talk about development in sectors like telecom, corruption was the biggest threat to them. If you talk about social inclusion by policies like Narega, again corruption was the biggest threat to them. Hence, so I believe that corruption, which has been brought up on that national table, is the main factor which will govern the elections for the first-time voters also.
Do you think this time around youth cannot hide behind lack of options or lack of awareness? You're seeing social media play a role in election 2014 like in a manner that was never seen before. How many of you actually believe that social media this time around has a great contribution, and actually that is something that the youth should exploit to make their voices be heard?
So for this I have data. For example, right about around 750 million voters India has. Out of that, 160 million voters are actually using internet. Out of that, around 80 million voters are on social media. And if you look back at 2009 elections, the difference between BJP and Congress was around 40 million voters. So 80 million voters who use social media, and they can actually fight for that 40 million difference which was between the two major parties.
I'd like to mention a thank you to the Election Commission as well.
giving the none of the above option, a remarkable step, a never before step, and it empowers us better. I mean, you can't actually say lack of option now, do you? If the options are bad, reject them all.
Now, if I were to give you Narendra Modi versus Rahul Gandhi versus Arvind Kejriwal and ask you to rate them a score between 1 to 10, what would you give each individual candidate?
I'd probably give Narendra Modi a 6.5. He has a lot more to do. He's just speaking things. Let's see what he can deliver. I would give Rahul Gandhi a poor 4. I'd give Kejriwal a 6.5 again.
So I believe that in Indian politics also we all should be given an equal chance, which is why I would rate Kejriwal and BJP, Modi, 6.5 both each. And Rahul Gandhi, well, let's not talk about it.